100 kids with AK-47s run by some 20-something-year-old. There's a problem in terms of what is the strategy.
I don't think we've had the spillover potential yet.
Everybody wanted the setters out of their communities, so they appeared as like, we're going to come and save you from the setters. Then they could try and push into more territories.
Right.
They could ally with one of these sides.
Any concerns about that cartel starting to take more control of Mexico? You know, I've had a couple experts in here that talked about the CJNG and the fears of them growing in power because of El Mayo. Is there any talks about that? Any concerns about that cartel starting to take more control of Mexico?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. There is, and the Jalisco New Generation cartel grew very big, very fast. They appeared in around 2011. It was one of the first times that they appeared as a paramilitary group called the Zeta Killers. We talk about the Zetas. The Zetas were very predatory, very antisocial, were carrying out horrific shakedowns, all of this kind of stuff. And so everybody wanted the setters out of their communities. So they appeared as like, we're going to come and save you from the setters, and kind of guys in ski masks hitting the setters. And they took over these places, but then they started doing the same stuff, doing shakedowns. And they grew very, very big, kind of as a franchise operation in some ways, I think, where you kind of set up different places, and they're kind of, you'll take over regular criminals and they'll become the local faction of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. As you weaken, or as the Sinaloa Cartel is a war, then they could try and push into more territories.
Right.
They could ally with one of these sides. And if they ally with one of these sides, it'd probably more likely be the Mayo side, because they've got a history of bloodshed with the Chapitos, or a history of beef with the Chapitos. However, they've also been at war with the Mayos, and the Chapitos are pretty, maybe they could look at some tactical alliance, we'll see. It's the problem with trying to defeat the cartels in Mexico, is that whenever you take down a kingpin, you help his enemies, and the lieutenants fight over the turf.
Yes.
So one of the things that's happened in Mexico is, you had one of the big kingpins used to be was a guy called Arturo Beltran Leyva, massive trafficker. Arturo was taken down, was shot dead by the Mexican Marines. They stormed in and shot him dead, decorated his body. Do you know the story about this as well, where afterwards one of the Marines was killed, and there was a public funeral for the Marine to celebrate what a hero he was. And then they went in and killed his entire family at his wake. They killed his mother, his aunt, his sister. It was sick. But anyway, Arturo Beltran.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy story about it. Arturo Beltran Leyva was killed. So then you had, under him, you had these different cartels, cartelitos even, like small cartels, emerged underneath. So then you had this group called the Guerreros Unidos. You had a group called Los Rojos. And all the others fighting amongst themselves. So you have these little factions, and you end up with kind of just groups of kids. Sometimes there's 100 kids with AK-47s run by some 20-something-year-old, just doing crazy stuff because they've got no leader anymore to keep them in order. So I don't pretend to know exactly what the answer is, but and I don't want to say these guys should have impunity, because these guys shouldn't. These guys are committing terrible stuff. But it's a problem in terms of what is the strategy. What is the US strategy for actually trying to deal with this problem?
Yeah, that's I don't think we've had the spillover potential yet, but it is a concern of ours, knowing that El Mayo is now gone. It kind of weakens their forces who have kind of kept order in their areas of operations. But now that there's an internal struggle, it's almost like, their heads are turned.
Look at LA. LA is Sinaloa Cartel territory.
Absolutely.
And so now you've got Mayos and Chapitos in LA, and there's been a few incidences of violence there, which are questionable. There's a guy who was killed who was very big in East LA. I'm not sure exactly where he was living. I forget where he was living, but a guy called El Mago, who was meant to be a big guy about Chapitos, and he was shot dead in LA. could be a different beef. But some other more directly related cartel beefs in San Diego, there looks like some things there. So you got the concern about I would say definitely long term in the US, you have to worry about these cartels in the US because they're so entrenched and so powerful, and you have to the US has to look at these in a way like it did the mafia or something else and think, okay, we can't let these guys. I mean, the US has been quite good about trying to stop the murders spilling over, and there was cases like Los Palillos, who are a bunch of guys from Tijuana cartel who kind of broke away and ran into San Diego and started leaving a bunch of bodies in San Diego and dissolving people in acid and shit in San Diego right now by the border, but also in other states. They started doing stuff in other, spreading around the US. It's been quite good, but you've got to keep that up, I think, because otherwise, the first victims of these kind of crimes are going to be in the Hispanic communities, in the Mexican American communities, where these people are closest. They're going to be the first victims of these guys.
Man, I really appreciate your time, sir. And it's been very informative. I enjoyed the information you gave us. Your experience on the ground is awesome. I hope that we stay, connected, because I really am fascinated by your work. I got to watch a lot of your YouTube stuff this morning and read some of your articles, and so I really appreciate your time today and joining us and giving us your information.
Really appreciate it. Great to be talking to you, and I'd like to hear some more from you sometime about the questions for you about training some of the people who train some of those setter guys and all that kind of stuff. I'd be very interested to hear your stories and some stuff from the Border Patrol. If I may give a shout, if anyone wants to check out more of my work, can I give a shout to?
Absolutely, please.
If you can go to www.CrashOutMedia.com. That's my Substack, my newsletter. I've got stories there every week or twice a week. You can sign up for free, completely really appreciate it. Or there's also a pay function for somebody's stories if you want to help out a cause. But yeah, great to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll connect with you probably on X or something, and we'll just go direct.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure thing. Yeah.
Thank you for watching Borderland, an Ironclad original. Please don't forget to share it on your social media platforms. Tell your friends. Let them know. Take care.